In sample problem number 6, we need to determine that the amount of contributed $6,000 to the traditional IRA, how much of that is deductible, meaning that it won't be taxed. It's deducted from gross income and will not be taxed. The IRA deduction is considered an adjustment to income reported on line 8A along with other adjustments to income. All adjustments to income are shown on Schedule 1. Here, line 19 reports IRA deduction. In order to figure this amount, we need to do the IRA deduction worksheet. This worksheet helps to determine the amount that's contributed to the traditional IRA of $6,000, how much of that is deductible. And on this worksheet, we see that there are two columns, your IRA and spouse's IRA. As we learned in the previous video, that it's based on the filing status. And when it's married filing jointly, it depends on the spouses who is an active participant or non-active or both. And each scenario has a phased out range. All of that is going to be encompassed in this worksheet to help us determine the deductible amount of contribution. Let's go to the worksheet. Line 1A, were you covered by a retirement plan? The answer is yes. The taxpayer does have a retirement plan. And 1B, if married filing jointly, was the spouse covered by a retirement plan? In this case, is it married filing jointly? No. The taxpayer is single, right? So nothing here. Line 2, enter the amount shown below that applies to you. Single, qualifying widow, married filing jointly, married filing separately. This is single. So then we enter the amount of $74,000 on line 2A. The $74,000 represents the threshold. We compare that to line 3. What is line 3? Enter the amount from Form 1040 line 7B. 7B is the total income. We are comparing line 2 to line 3, the total income. Line 4, enter the total amounts from Schedule 1 lines 10 through 18A. These are all of the adjustments. Let's go to Schedule 1. Right here, 10 through 18A. All these are adjustments to income. So line 4 is 1,200 adjustments to income. Line 5, subtract line 4 from line 3. That comes out to 72,250. And the figure represents the income after taking out the adjustments to income. Line 6, it asks, is the amount on line 5 less than the amount on line 2? The answer is yes. And then subtract line 5 from line 2 in each column. Subtracting line 5 from line 2. In other words, we are comparing line 2, the threshold of $74,000. Compare that to the amount of income excluding or subtracting the adjustments to income. Compare the two. Write the difference here. 1,750. Line 7, as it says here, multiply line 6A and 6B by the percentage below that applies to you. The percentage that applies is for single filing status, which is 60%. So 60% times the number in line 6A and 6B. We don't have any in 6B, just 6A, right? And that's 1,750 times 60% comes out to 1,050. Line 8, enter the total of your wages, salaries, and tips. Box 1 of Form W2, that is 71,000 as given in the sample problem. Then line 9, enter the earned income you received as a self-employed individual or partner. This is all 0. Line 9 is 0. Line 10, add lines 8 and 9, which is the 71,000 here. The wages and salaries carry down to line 10. Line 11, enter the traditional IRA contributions made. That is given in the problem. 6,000 goes here. Line 12, on line 12A, enter the smallest of line 7A 10 or line 11A. Line 7A is the 1050 from right here. Line 10 is the wages and salary, 71,000. That's carried down to line 10. So the smallest of this, and 11A, which is the 6,000. So again, the 6,000 contribution to traditional IRA. Line 10 is the wages and salaries. Line 7A is the 60% that we calculated of the income that is reduced by the adjustments to income. So 12A is 1,050, and this goes to Schedule 1, line 19. Here's Schedule 1, line 19, 1050, and we carry the total on this schedule to the Form 1040, line 8A. For this tax return, we need to complete Form 8606, non-deductible IRAs. We just figured out the deductible portion, right? The contribution was 6,000, and we determined 1,050 was deductible. Right here, 1,050, that's deductible. Right here, 1,050, that's deductible, and we report that on Form 1040. Now, if 6,000 is the contribution and 1,050 is deductible, how much is non-deductible? We would take the 6,000 minus the 1050. It would come out to how much? 49.50. That's the amount of non-deductible contributions to traditional IRA for the year. It's only for this year. Then line 2, we enter the total basis in traditional IRA, which is given to us. It's from previous years. Right here, prior non-deductible contributions, 1,580. Line 3 is just the subtotal, and it says here, in 2019, did you take a distribution from traditional SEP, simple IRA, or make a Roth IRA conversion? The answer to that is no. So then enter the amount from line 3 on line 14. We jump down to line 14, input the amount of $20,030, and that's it with this form. Basically, this form is to figure out what is the amount of non-deductible IRAs we have for the current year, 49.50, and from previous years it's 15,080. So the total as of the end of the tax year, we have a balance 20,030. Do we have to do the other parts? It doesn't relate to us for this sample problem. Part 2 is 2019 conversions from traditional SEP or simple IRA to Roth IRAs. That doesn't apply. Part 3, distributions from Roth IRA, meaning we get money out of our plan from the Roth IRA. Nope. So that's it. Be sure to fill out name, social security number, and other information.